Hello, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Scott Sports 101. I'm Scott Trella, and we're going to recap Week 15 of the NFL. We'll look ahead to Week 16, and there's only 3 games left in the season. We'll talk Cavs, talk about the Buckeyes' next game, which is the 31st, and some and other sports. But before we get to any of that, but first, here is today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. And it is a Browns trivia question this time. Who was the kicker of the Cleveland Browns in the 1995 season? And I'll have the answer later in the podcast. Well, we'll start by recapping the Browns game. Caleb Williams rolled toward the right sideline and unleashed a pass he probably had no business attempting. DJ Moore went up in a crowd in the back of the end zone and came down with a touchdown. That's the type of day it was for the Bears. Williams threw 2 touchdown passes, and the Chicago Bears beat the Cleveland Browns 31-3 on Sunday in one of the coldest games ever at Soldier Field. Even though the Browns' Myles Garrett moved within a sack of the NFL single-season record. The Bears, who are now 10-4, heated up early on a day when the temperature at kickoff was 8 degrees, and they hit double digits in wins for the first time since the 2018 NFC North Championship team went 12-4. They scored 2 first quarter touchdowns and broke the game open with 2 more in the third. It was just the sort of performance they needed coming off a loss at Green Bay that knocked them from first to 7th in the NFC, with a rematch against their rivals at home next week looming. And you want to start the game off every week like that, Williams said. But definitely this week, not allowing them to get going, not allowing them to feel some energy or feel they can beat us. That was our mindset going into this game. Garrett had 1.5 sacks, giving him 21.5 on the season, and leaving him one shy of the record shared by New York Giants Hall of Famer Michael Strahan and Pittsburgh's T.J. Watt in 2021. Michael Strahan in 2001, T.J. Watt in 2021. He got to Williams in the second quarter on a third down at the Cleveland 8, and he and Shelby Harris took down the quarterback early in the fourth. A 4-time All-Pro, Garrett has at least 1 sack in 8 straight games and has 17.5 in that span. Williams shook off a string of shaky outings, finishing 17 of 28 for 242 yards. He completed fewer than 60 of his passes in each of the previous 6 games. DeAndre Swift ran for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. Moore added 69 yards receiving and 2 scoring catches, with Rome Odunze missing his second straight game because of a foot injury. His second TD, a 22-yarder, and the third was one for the highlight reel. I'd say 99% of the quarterbacks, you tell them, don't even waste your time looking back there and trying to make that throw, Coach Ben Johnson said. There's usually bad things that happen, and yet he's got the ability to make that throw. DJ made a heck of a play there, right on the back line as well. Rookie Luther Burden caught 6 passes for 84 yards, including a 40-yarder. The Browns held Cleveland. The Bears held Cleveland to 192 yards and turned 3 interceptions against Shedeur Sanders into 17 points with 3 takeaways that extended their league lead to 30. DeMarco Jackson had an interception deep in Cleveland territory in the third. Jalen Johnson picked off a pass at the goal line with his back to the quarterback later in the quarter, and both plays led to a touchdown. Another one by C.J. Gardner-Johnson in the fourth set up a field goal, helping the Bears bounce back, having a 5-game win streak uh, snapped last week. They also won their fifth straight game since a season opening loss to Minnesota. They had a great defensive scheme, Sanders said. I enjoyed playing against them. I enjoyed playing in that. It was definitely a little challenge. So I look forward to learning from that. The Browns, who now have fallen to 3-11, have dropped three straight and 6 of 7. Uh, uh, and Sanders was 18 of 35 for 177 yards and 3 interceptions. He was sacked 5 times in his fourth start. The Browns announced the highly publicized fifth-round pick of Sun Pro Football Hall of Famer Deion Sanders will be their starter for the rest of the season after passing for 364 yards and 3 touchdowns, while also having a rushing score against Tennessee in Week 14. He's a young player that is making progress, like we've talked about all week. Coach Kevin Stefanski said, I see it in games. I get to see it in practice. There's going to be ups and downs to young players, particularly the quarterback position. So I will learn from it and will be better next week. Myles Garrett tweaked his hip during the game. Guard Taven Jenkins exited with a shoulder injury. For the Bears, O'Dunn's aggravated his foot injury in warm-ups. Johnson had no details on exactly how it happened and whether he'll play again this season. I really don't know the extent of it, he said. When something like this happens right before a game, you're solely focused on getting the next guy ready to perform at a high level. Williams limped toward the locker room after he was hit on the shin on a pass of the final play of the first half. The Browns will host the Buffalo Bills this Sunday, and the Bears will host Green Bay at Soldier Field on Saturday night. Another matchup between the heated rival between Green Bay and Houston. But I got to give the game balls to the Bears. Once again, I can't give them to the Browns. I have to give them to the Bears. Caleb Williams, 17 of 28, 200 carries and attempts, 242 yards, 2 touchdowns. DeAndre Swift, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns, 18 attempts. And I think it's DJ Moore. Yes, DJ Moore, 4 receptions, 63 yards, 2 touchdowns. On the passing end, Shedeur Sanders, 18 of 35, 177 yards, 3 interceptions. On the rushing end, 24 yards, 2 attempts. And Isaiah Bond, 2 receptions, 89 yards. But the game balls go to the Bears. But the Browns just could not get it going, and they were held to just 1 field goal in this game. We'll get back to the rest of the NFL scores in just a moment. But first, it's time now to reveal the answer to today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question, which is a Browns trivia question. Who was the kicker, of the Cleveland Browns in the 1995 season? If you said Matt Stover, you are correct. Matt Stover was the kicker for the Cleveland Browns during the 1995 season, and he really made a lot of his kicks. He was a heck of a kicker when the Browns had him. And I'll have another trivia question on my next podcast. So stay tuned for that. And I have a little story on Shedeur Sanders. Cleveland Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders threw an incompletion against the Titans signaled growth, facing a 3rd and 8 from Tennessee's 20-yard line in Week 14. Late in the first quarter, Sanders stood in the pocket for a few seconds, then he scanned the field for an open wide receiver as no player broke free, and a Titans pass rusher barreled down on Sanders. He uh, uh, pirouetted to evade a sack and dodged another as he continued to search for a pass catcher to separate downfield. And finally, the rookie stopped in his tracks and heaved the ball out of bounds. It ends up being incomplete. Browns coach Kevin Stefanski said Wednesday of last week, uh, and but he scrambled around and was looking to make a play. Nobody wiggled open, and he threw the ball away. And he, when we got points out of that, I think that's good progress for a young quarterback. You have to know that it is a fine line of that it's a fine line of I'm trying to make a play for my team, my football team, and I'm also going to be smart here because I have points. You learn from that playing. You learn from that being in these games, and I think he's making progress there. So he is making a lot of progress, and right now we are gonna take a look at the. We're gonna go through the rest of the scores from Week 15, beginning with the Thursday night game. The Atlanta Falcons upset the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Raymond James Stadium by 29-28. And this was a shocking upset because I thought Tampa Bay would have had it, but how wrong I was. So I give game balls to Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons. You already know uh, the Browns lost 31-3. Uh, the Baltimore and I took Tampa Bay and lost, and so did my brother-in-law. And I took for the Browns game, I took Chicago and won, and so did my brother-in-law. He took the Bears. The Baltimore Ravens shut out the Cincinnati Bengals at Paycor Stadium 24-0. Cincinnati just couldn't get anything going. And it was a poor performance by Joe Burrow. So I give the game balls to Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. I give them to them. And I took Baltimore and I won. My brother-in-law took the Bengals and lost. The Houston Texans beat the Arizona Cardinals 40-20 at state at NRG Stadium in Houston, and Houston just dominated this game. But Arizona tried to come back, but they just weren't able to do it. So I give them the game balls to C.J. Stroud and Nick Chubb. I give them to them. I took Houston and I won. And my brother-in-law, he took, I think, he took the Texans and won as well. The Kansas City Chiefs. Actually, hold on, I'll get to that in a minute. But the Jacksonville Jaguars, excuse me, beat the New York Jets, whopped them 48-20. The Jets just could not keep up with the Jaguars, and I give the game for the Jaguars. I give them to Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. I give the game balls to. I took Jacksonville and I won. So did my brother-in-law Eric Hoyle. He took the Jaguars. And the Kansas City Chiefs have officially been eliminated from the playoff hunt there and from the playoffs as they lose to the LA Chargers 16-13 this past Sunday in Week 15. And I give the game balls to Justin Herbert and the Chargers, and I took the I took the Chiefs and lost. So did my brother-in-law Eric Oil. So we both lost on that one. Uh, the Buffalo Bills came from behind and beat the New England Patriots 35-31. They had been down 21-17 at halftime. I came back and beat them. And I took Buffalo and I won. So did my brother-in-law Eric Hoyle. He took Buffalo, and I give him the game balls to Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. I give them to them. The Washington Commanders beat the New York Giants 29-21. The Giants uh, had missed a field goal and could not score a touchdown. And the Commanders beat them at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. I give them to Jalen Daniels and the Commanders. And I took Washington and I won. My brother-in-law, he took the Giants and lost. And that was another one we didn't agree on. The Philadelphia Eagles shut out the Las Vegas Raiders at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 31-0. The Raiders just could not do anything right in this game. I give them that Jalen Hurts, uh, Saquon Barkley, uh, and uh, uh, and the rest of the Eagles. And I took Philadelphia and I won. My brother, he took Philadelphia and won. Uh, the Green Bay Packers beat hold on a minute. The Denver Broncos beat the Green Bay Packers 34-26 at Empire. I think it was Empire Field at Mile High, and boy, I thought Green Bay would get the win on the road, and how wrong I was. But it kept seesawing back and forth between these two teams. But I gave them to Bo Nix and the Broncos the game balls, and I took Green Bay and I lost on that one. My brother-in-law, he took the Packers and he lost on that one. The LA Rams beat the Detroit Lions 41-34 at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. And boy, I thought the Lions would get the win in this. I was hoping, but I took the Rams. I had a feeling they were going to get it, but I didn't know if Detroit was going to get it there in SoFi because they'd had a rough time there. And I give the game balls to Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp. And I took the Rams and I won. My brother-in-law took the Lions and he lost on that one. The New Orleans Saints beat the Carolina Panthers 20-17 at Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. And boy, I took the Panthers and I lost. And so did my brother-in-law. And I thought the Panthers would for sure get the win, but they struggled. And I give the game balls to Derek Carr and Alvin Kamara. And Sunday Night Football. Oh, wait a minute. Hold. Before we get to that one, two more like this. I forgot about that. The San Francisco 49ers beat the Tennessee Titans 37-24 at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. And boy, I give them to Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey the game balls. And boy, Tennessee they struggled, but they managed to get back into it, but just couldn't get over that hurdle. San Francisco just dominated. I took the 49ers and won, and my brother-in-law did as well. He won. My brother-in-law Eric Hoyle. And the Seattle Seahawks beat the Indianapolis Colts 18-16 at Lumen Field in Seattle. I give the game balls to Sam Darnold and DK Metcalf. I give them to them. And I took Seattle and I won, and my brother-in-law took Seattle as well. Now Sunday Night Football. I'm sorry about that. The Minnesota Vikings shockingly upset the Dallas Cowboys 34 to 26 at AT&T Stadium in Big D. And I thought the Cowboys would get the win because Minnesota's had a rough time in Dallas. Boy, Dallas really struggled that second half. And I give the game balls to J.J. McCarthy and Justin Jefferson. I took Dallas and lost, and so did my brother-in-law. He lost too on that one. And rounding out Week 15, Monday Night Football, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who now take control of the, who now have took control of the AFC North, beat the Miami Dolphins 28 to 15 at Ascure Stadium in Pittsburgh. I give the game balls to T.J. Watt and Aaron Rodgers and T.J. Watt. I give them to, and I took Pittsburgh and won. My brother-in-law took the Dolphins and lost. My brother-in-law went 7-9. Eric Well, I went 12-4. I won, and I went to 8-5-2. My brother-in-law fell to 6-6-2. So we are winding down this season, but now we will look ahead to Week 16. The Los Angeles Rams, Thursday Night Football, the Los Angeles Rams will be at Lumen Field in Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Now we're getting close to the end of the season, so we have a couple of Saturday NFL games for you. The Philadelphia Eagles will be at Northwest Stadium in Washington, or let's say Maryland, to take on the Commanders. The Green Bay Packers will be at Soldier Field to take on Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. Now we'll look ahead to the Sunday games. Tampa Bay will be at Bank of America Stadium to take on Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. The Buffalo Bills will be here in Cleveland to take on the Browns. The Los Angeles Chargers will be at AT&T Stadium in Big D to take on Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. The New York Jets will be at Caesars Superdome in New Orleans to take on the Saints. The Minnesota Vikings will be at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey to take on the New York Giants. Mahomes and the Chiefs, who are now playing for pride instead of a playoff spot, will be at Nissan Stadium in Tennessee to take on the Titans. And rounding out the 1 o'clock games, the Cincinnati Bengals will be at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami to take on the Miami Dolphins. The Atlanta Falcons, the 4 o'clock games, the Atlanta Falcons will be in Arizona at State Farm Stadium to take on Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. The Jaguars will be at Empire Field at Mile High to take on Bo Mix and the Denver Broncos. The Pittsburgh Steelers will be in Detroit to take on Jared Goff and the Lions. And rounding out the late games, the 4 o'clock games, the Raiders will be in NRG Stadium in Houston to take on C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans. Sunday Night Football. Drake May and the Patriots will be in Baltimore at M&T Bank Stadium to take on Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. And Monday Night Football to round out Week 16. The San Francisco 49ers will be in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium to take on the Colts. And I feel the Browns do need to have a better record next year. And whether they get rid of Stefanski and bring in a new guy, a new coach, but they need to not draft a quarterback. They need to work on that offensive line and the special teams. And I just feel they need to do that because we have got to have a better record last night. You're going to want to next year, but you're going to want to have a good team when you move into that new stadium in 3 years from now in 2029. And a lot of people agree with that. And the Cavs are in action tonight as they are taking on the Chicago Bulls right now. at in Chicago, and right now it is 62-69. It's 69-62 Bulls with 9:27 left in the, actually, now it's 74-64 with 9:27 to go in the third quarter. Cavs down by 10. Let's hope the Cavs can catch up and get the victory and snap this three-game losing skid tonight. Let's see if they can do it. They are 15-12 right now, and they are they are tied for fifth place with the Orlando Magic with 50. Actually, now they're in seventh place in the Eastern Conference. They're in, hopefully to move up because we want to get a playoff spot. So we shall see, and we'll see if the Cavs can come from behind and win this one in the fourth quarter. The rest of this third quarter and the fourth quarter, and the Buckeyes will play West Virginia on the 31st in the Citrus Bowl. I do not have time for one of my new wrinkles this time out because we are out of time. Well, I'm out of time, but I will be back this weekend or next week with another podcast. But until then, that just about wraps it up for this edition of Scott Sports 101. So always remember, be a team player each and every day and every way possible. So long, everybody. I'll see you this weekend or next week with another podcast. 3, 2, 1. I'm done.